Right now at 5, with the imminent closure of the Tyson plant just days away, one worker expresses her hopes and anxiety for the future.
We've got a clear and breezy start once again across the day. Warm and windy out there. We're going to have a look at that forecast. Get you out the door coming up.
Plus, a Baxter Springs man is voicing his frustrations, saying he has to pay to repair his water meter after it was allegedly damaged by a tree service.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. The time now is 5 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. So, as promised, it was breezy yesterday. It was breezy last night. It is breezy this morning.
All right.
And it's going to be breezy today. We've got some strong gusty winds out there. As a matter of fact, we even have some wind advisories. We'll take a look at that. Our camera 7th in range line looking pretty good this morning. Same from the MoDOT camera, 32nd in range line in Joplin. The winds have calmed down a bit this morning, but they're going to pick right back up in no time. So clear skies, Joplin and Pittsburgh, sitting at 61 in Joplin and 60 in Pittsburgh this morning. Kids getting on the bus, again, breezy. South breeze 15 to 20, gusting to 30. Partly cloudy skies. We're going to go upper 50s, so we're a wee bit cooler this morning. And we're going to go about low 70s by this afternoon out there, and winds picking up, south 20 to 25, gusting to 35. However, some of us could see some gustier winds. We're going to go partly to mostly cloudy through the morning, breezy of course, and we're going to go back into the upper 60s by late morning today. And here's what we're talking about. Here's those wind advisories, southeast Kansas, parts of northeastern Oklahoma. These are until 7 o'clock tonight, and in those areas, could see winds gusting 40 to 45 miles an hour out there. So once again, another trash can in the neighbor's yard kind of day. So make sure you're prepared for that. In addition to that, we also have some thunderstorm chances that'll be increasing as we head into the overnight hours. So through today, again, not looking too bad. In fact, we'll even start to clear out cloud-wise. But late tonight, early tomorrow morning, a few scattered thunderstorm chances out there. We're going to talk more about those storm chances and the temperatures that follow them here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. A Knoll, Missouri man is sentenced after pleading guilty to child sex crimes. Authorities say in July of last year, 60-year-old Gregory Elmore was caught trying to rape a child he was related to by the child's father. Tuesday, Elmore pleaded guilty to attempted statutory rape of a child under 14 years old. He is sentenced to 15 years in prison. When the Tyson plant in Knoll, Missouri closes on Friday, 1,500 jobs in that area will be gone. The company is offering $1,000 for those who work until the very last day, according to employees, not taking in consideration for how long these people worked at the company. The employees who chose to stay to receive the compensation are now dealing with uncertainty about their future. KOAM's Fernanda Silva spoke with one of them to hear her story.
On October 13th, Janet Gonzalez will be saying goodbye to the company she worked for the last 5 years. With limited English and a young daughter to take care of, Gonzalez is struggling to find a job that fit her needs. I'll have to take unemployment, and we're very worried because I have diabetes. I need medication. It is very tough. It's horrible. While she's concerned about her challenges, her heart is also broken for her co-workers, who she often sees crying. They don't have anywhere to work because they left their lives there, bought their houses, have their cars, and many dreams they had. And now, with this that has happened to them, it's been really difficult for me to see them cry. According to her, the impact employees are feeling is also emotional and even physical. I had to witness one whose half of the face went numb because she's a single mother. Gonzalez says the situation is especially challenging for those who, unlike her, don't speak any English. Many don't speak anything, nothing. Most of the companies that have come ask if you finished high school here, if you speak English. In my experience, even speaking a little, I don't dare to go because I don't know English well.
No sé bien el inglés.
President of the McDonough County Chamber of Commerce believes Hispanics will have a better chance to find jobs than some other immigrant groups.
Those will be tougher jobs or tougher jobs for them to fill. If they don't speak English, or usually Hispanic is okay because a lot of employers already and so if you can't speak English but you speak Hispanic, you're probably fine. But if you're, from Somalia or Burmese, I mean, those are not common languages. Islanders, it's a little more difficult to find those jobs with communication.
We also reached out to Tyson to understand how the company is supporting its employees. Tyson says that they are offering a $5,000 transfer bonus and up to $5,000 assistance for moving expenses for team members who physically move to another Tyson Foods facility. Tyson's spokesperson says that about 16% of the NOAA plant workforce plans to remain employed by the company. Even with the support the company says that they are offering, for Gonzalez, the closure will put her biggest dream on hold. It was my dream to get my house. I was already making plans to buy my house, and it turns out, boom, it is over. In Neosho, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
According to Tyson, they have coordinated with outside employers and the Missouri Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development, who shared employment opportunities, unemployment assistance, and other support to employees. You can go to our website at koamnewsnow.com to watch and read the first part of the story. You can also find the questions we sent to Tyson Foods and the company's answers. A Baxter Springs man is looking for answers about who's on the hook for his damaged water meter. After receiving a higher than usual water bill from the city, William Mortel was notified his water meter was damaged. Mortel was billed $200 to repair the meter, but he thought Right Tree Service would take accountability since the meter was working before they worked on the property. He says that the company was contracted by Liberty to cut branches. Mortel says he's understanding but believes someone else's mistake shouldn't be on his dime.
Pretty much just passed me off and say, that's not our responsibility, it's the tree people. I called the tree people, they said, that's not our responsibility, we didn't do it. So, I'm just stuck with the invoice, and that's not fair. If I ran over their meter, I would be expected to pay for it.
KOAM reached out to Liberty Utilities and Right Tree Service for a statement. We have not received a response. Pittsburgh's mayor yesterday delivered the 2023 State of the City address. The free event brought out the community for a morning of networking, breakfast, and short program. The mayor shared Pittsburgh accomplishments in 2023, as well as a look ahead. He says that the event served as a way to connect with the community.
Everybody should interact with their community in some form or other. Don't ask me why I'm doing this at my age and after 2 careers. It's because I want to do something. I've got it. I love people. I love to be around people. I like to solve problems.
The address took place at the Memorial Auditorium. Fuzzy's Taco Shop in Joplin has closed up, seeming permanently. Customers went to the shop yesterday expecting it to be open like normal, but they were met with a sign on the door that reads in part, Fuzzy's Taco Shop in Joplin is closed. We apologize for the inconvenience. Google lists the business as permanently closed. Numerous people were seen removing items from the building and loading them into SUVs and U-Haul trailers. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, 6 area school sports programs join forces to form a new conference. Plus, Hurricane Lydia leaves behind damage in Mexico. We'll have the details. And we have another warm and windy day. We'll have what to expect from this Thursday with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Carl Junction's time as a member of the Central Ozark Conference is coming to a close. The high school announced yesterday it will be leaving to form a new league with 5 other schools known as the Ozark Mountain Conference. That includes another current member of the COC, Branson, along with Bolivar, Logan, Rogersville, Marshfield, and West Plains. Carl Junction Superintendent Philip Cook says joining this new conference, quote, allows our student athletes to compete at a high level with similarly sized outstanding school districts. That competition level is the primary factor in the move, even if it comes at the cost of further drives to away games.
There's always non-conference schedules in all sports, and so driving is, it's kind of part of it, and you can't. At the end of the day, you kind of have to find a medium, if you will, or a median, if you will, as far as, we want this, and we want this, and we want this, and so where can we get, find kind of to satisfy all those needs.
One of the primary thoughts most people have after seeing the realignment is how far away the other conference members are from Carl Junction. Here's a look at the breakdown of distances on your screen. The closest school is an hour and a half away. That's Logan Rogersville. The furthest travel is going to West Plains, which is 180 miles away. That's 3 hours each way in the car or school bus. Well, playoff softball is nearly here. Today, Missouri high schools begin district playoffs with several of our local teams in the same tournaments. Beginning with the Class 4 District 7 tournament taking place up in Nevada, Tigers are the #1 overall seed. They play a quarterfinal at noon against Raytown South today. If Nevada wins, it'll face the winner between McDonald County and Carl Junction. Webb City is the 2 seed in that bracket. The Cardinals play at 7 tomorrow evening against Raytown. Both semifinals are on Saturday. Then to the Class 5 District 7 tournament, that one being held in Joplin. Ray-Pec is the #1 seed. Joplin and Carthage see each other in the quarterfinals tomorrow evening at 7. The Osho plays Lee Summit at 5. The Wildcats enter having won 13 of their last 14. KOAM has the coverage throughout the weekend into Monday for this tournament as well. Over to the MLB postseason. A year ago, the Phillies went on a magical run to the World Series as a wild card team. Things are looking pretty similar this October. They win Game 3 of the NLDS in convincing fashion, 10-2 over the Braves. Philadelphia hit 6 homers. Bryce Harper and Nick Castellanos hit 2 apiece. Over in the American League, the Astros advanced to the American League Championship Series. They dispose of the Twins in 4 games. The LCS features 2 teams from the same division this year. The AL West champion Astros face the Rangers, who are a wild card team but swept the 1 seed Baltimore. Game 1 of the ALCS can be seen on Fox 14 on Sunday. First pitch time is still to be determined. Well, still to come, we'll tell you how climate change can strain the mental health of young people. We've got the details. Plus, it's warm, it's breezy, and then it's going to rain. We'll take a look at that forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 517 on this Thursday morning. So I want to remind you, we've got wind advisories parts of southeast Kansas and into northeastern Oklahoma until 7 this evening. In those areas, winds could gust as high as 40 to 45 miles an hour. So once again, another trash can in the neighbor's yard kind of day. The rest of us could see gusts 30 to 35 miles an hour. We'll see increasing clouds, believe it or not, through the morning and into the early afternoon. So parts of southeast Kansas at least will be under mostly cloudy skies, if not just plain old cloudy skies. Then we clear out in the evening ahead of this thunderstorm development expected around midnight across the area. And here we are at 2 a.m. They're very scattered, as you can see. This isn't a massive line of storms. We're not talking this big system here, but we are seeing some thunderstorms. By 5 a.m., a few lingering showers and thunderstorms even into the 8 o'clock hour, but those will eventually clear out by mid-morning. And the ones that we do see, especially in southeast Kansas, could be a bit on the strong side with some small hail possible and some gusty winds out there, so do be aware of that as we head into the overnight hours. MoDOT camera, 32nd in range line, looking good so far this morning. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh, and our camera 7th in range line looking great. Not bad, 61, clear skies, but that south-southeast breeze at 13, gusting to 23 ahead of these higher gusts that'll build back in as we head into the morning and afternoon hours. Got a pretty mild start, not that far off from where we were yesterday. 60 in Pittsburgh, Lamar, Nevada, Fort Scott, and Carthage. 59 in Neosho, 63 Miami and Chanute, as well as Neodesha Yates Center, and 62 Parsons and Chatopa. We get our morning started. Again, it's going to be windy. We're looking at some mostly cloudy skies out there. Some of you may not see clouds at all, but remember, these forecasts are for the region, not just one particular location. We'll go into the upper 60s by late morning. Highs today, again, above normal out there, windy. We'll start to clear out as the afternoon goes on, and we'll be in the upper 70s, and again, maybe some low 80s out there. Now, again, the evening, and this is where it gets a little confusing, We have the thunderstorms overnight, lows back into the upper 50s, low 60s, but ahead of that, we actually go clear skies ahead of the incoming thunderstorm chances out there. So that's where it's going to be a little bit fun. We're going to be cooler tomorrow. In fact, we're going to hit that high in the upper 60s relatively early, and then temperatures will fall gradually through the day into the upper 50s. We are unfortunately looking at the possibility of a few more clouds on Saturday, so we know we've got that partial eclipse. It may be a little more difficult to see out there. We'll have to see what these clouds do. Otherwise, low 60s, upper 50s as we head into Sunday and Monday. We start to warm up later next week into the 60s, upper 60s out there with some shower chances Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's a quick check of your forecast. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, as headlines detailing violence in Israel and Gaza dominate social media, the news and many conversations, health experts say that the traumatic events can cause a heightened sense of stress and anxiety, especially among children. Mandy Gaither has more on a therapist on how to talk to your kids about what's happening and how to bring them comfort.
The images are scary and heartbreaking. As violence continues in Israel and Gaza, it can all feel overwhelming.
You might have personal connections to it. You might be experiencing some triggers from something from your past. And so it's really important to just be aware of what you're feeling and then let go of any shame or judgment around that.
Licensed therapist Jody Baumstein says for young children who haven't been exposed to accounts of the violence, there's no need to talk to them about it. But for older kids who have heard about or seen violent things, she says to be proactive. Don't wait for them to come to you. Talk to them. It's okay to not have answers to their questions.
Really, that's not what they need. Kids don't need a script. They need you to be in it with them and let them know they're not alone in it.
Baumstein says to let them guide the conversation based on what's on their minds. Then listen and offer ways to cope.
How to kind of check their thoughts and see if it's accurate and it's helpful. And you're teaching them strategies to regulate. So if they're feeling overwhelmed, there are things that they can do to calm their body and calm their mind.
If it all feels too overwhelming, take a break from the exposure to the violence. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The number of drug overdose deaths in the United States is still increasing every month, but the pace appears to be slowing. New estimates from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention projects that more than 112,000 people died from a drug overdose in the 12-month period ending in May. That's an increase of more than 2,700 from the previous year. But experts say despite that increase, these numbers are still lower than the jump seen during the early years of the COVID-19 pandemic. Overdose deaths spiked 30% between 2019 and 2020 and rose another 15% between 2020 and 2021, according to the CDC. The Food and Drug Administration has approved the first over-the-counter version of naloxone, or Narcan, which is a drug used to reverse opioid overdose. The nasal spray is now available in stores and online. And a new report shows phenomenon linked to climate change can strain the mental health of young people. The report is from an environmental advocacy group called Eco-America and the American Psychiatric Association. It points to extreme heat, poor air quality, and natural disasters. The study shows they can make young people worry about the future and give them PTSD. It says that they also might cause issues like anxiety, depression, aggression, and more. According to the researchers, disasters can be harder on young people if they have yet to develop coping skills. The findings from an analysis of existing research of the results. Gallaudet University is known for its groundbreaking work for the deaf and hard of hearing. The school has an active sports program, and now a new invention could be a game changer for the team's football players. Caroline Patrick has more.
Gallaudet Bison are once again paving the way.
To know that it actually happened and we made history, it's even better than I thought.
Gallaudet University and AT&T creating the first 5G connected football helmet for deaf and hard of hearing football players that changes the game.
The most important thing was it opened up access to communication. Important. Sometimes I can't get the attention of our quarterback.
Over the weekend, it was used for the first time in the win against the Hilbert College Hawks.
I think it's mind-blowing. Using this kind of technology is super advanced. especially when you're talking about using it in the game of football. So truly blown away, and I can see how it benefits us in a game time situation. So hats off to AT&T for making this happen.
The helmet allows coaching staff to send plays via a tablet to a digital display located in this visor.
With this helmet, you don't have to look to the sideline to try to see what the coach is saying. You can just focus on the huddle, get the play directly from the helmet.
Quarterback Brandon Washington sees the play and is able to give clear communication to his team.
Yes, I really think it can change the game for us, hard of hearing and deaf people, yes.
Unlimited possibilities for leveling the playing field, honestly. It's something that I never could imagine kind of happen.
The university says it shouldn't go unnoticed that Gallaudet invented the modern-day huddle in 1894, a way to conceal hand signals from another deaf opponent.
AT&T made a $500,000 donation to Gallaudet. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we are keeping an eye on another warm and breezy day across the 4 states. We're already starting to see those winds gusting this morning. If you look close, you can see that traffic light bouncing back and forth there in the gusty winds this morning. We got clear skies, though, 61 in Joplin, 59 in Pittsburgh right now. Kids getting on that bus, well, it's not going to be too bad. Upper 50s, breezy, though, gusts to 30. And when that bus brings them back home, partly cloudy skies, low to mid 70s, gusts up to 35. We'll take another look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Good morning, I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy with your KOAM News Update. A Knoll, Missouri man is sentenced after pleading guilty to child sex crimes. Authorities say in July of last year, 6-year-old Gregory Elmore was caught trying to rape a child he was related to by the child's father. Tuesday, Elmore pleaded guilty to attempted statutory rape of a child under 14 years old. He is sentenced to 15 years in prison. A Baxter Springs man is looking for answers about who's on the hook for his damaged water meter. After receiving a higher than usual water bill from the city, William Mortal was notified that his water meter was damaged. Mortal was billed $200 to repair the meter, but he thought Right Tree Service would take accountability since the meter was working before they worked on the property. He says the company was contacted by Liberty to cut the branches.
We've got ourselves another warm and windy day out there. Temperatures mid-upper 70s, maybe even some low 80s. Wind gusts 30 to 35, but parts of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma could see gusts 40 to 45 miles an hour. We'll start to clear out in the evening, believe it or not. Still windy, though, and then thunderstorm chances increase after midnight, going back in the upper 50s, low 60s. Thunderstorms will clear out by about mid-morning Friday. Early high of 68, temperatures falling through the day and much cooler next week.
Without worrying where you are or if it's too late.
Do not take with strong CYP3A4 inhibitors. Allergic reactions to Ubrelvy can happen. Most common side effects were nausea and sleepiness.
Migraine pain relief starts with you. Ask about Ubrelvy. Learn how AbbVie can help you save.
Don't wait. These are the absolute final days of the massive Lost Lease Furniture and Mattress Sell-Off at Slumberland Furniture in Joplin. Furniture and mattresses are priced to sell. All must go. Hurry. Once it's gone for good. The final days at Slumberland Furniture are here in Joplin. Buy now.
Right now at 5:30, Pittsburgh residents had a chance to meet the candidates running for the district's Board of Education.
We've got another warm and windy start out there. Warm and windy day ahead of us with rain chances increasing. We'll take a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, one area animal shelter hits critical capacity. Hear how it's trying to deal with the problem.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. The time now is 5:31 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. So it is pinch cooler than where we were yesterday, but still pretty mild out there, well above where we should be for this time of year. And we're going to start to see some pretty gusty winds. Our camera 7th in range line looking good so far. Same from the MODOK camera at 32nd in range line. And every so often as the wind picks up, you can see this traffic light pole start to bounce back and forth a little bit out there because those winds, they're going to stick around for a little bit as well. Clear skies, Joplin and Pittsburgh, 61 in Joplin and 59 in Pittsburgh right now. So again, just a pinch cooler than where we were yesterday morning, but still not bad. Kids getting on the bus this morning. Upper 50s, partly cloudy skies out there, breezy, gusts up to 30 out of the south. And as we head into the afternoon, that bus bringing them home, we're talking low to mid 70s, gusts up to 35. However, some of us could see higher gusts than that. We're going to be breezy through the day. We're going to start to go mostly cloudy to just plain cloudy, especially in southeast Kansas, where we'll see some clouds through the morning into the early afternoon hours, going into the upper 60s by late morning. Here's a look at those wind advisories. Southeast Kansas, parts of northeast Oklahoma, until 7 o'clock, and in those areas could see wind gusts 40 to 45 miles an hour. So again, this is another neighbor's yard day for your trash can, so do make sure it is secured. We also have those thunderstorm chances. I want to talk about those real quick. So again, today, see clouds increase briefly across southeast Kansas, and then they'll clear out through the evening, and then by about midnight, that's when we're going to start to see some scattered thunderstorms out there. Here we are at 2 a.m., starting to cross into parts of southwest Missouri, and we'll continue to see scattered showers and storms through the mid-morning hours before they do eventually clear out. And a couple of those could be a bit on the strong side, especially in southeast Kansas, maybe some small hail, perhaps some gusty winds, so we will keep an eye on that for you as we head into the overnight hours tonight. We'll have another full look at your forecast, talk about what happens to our temperatures once this front moves through here in a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Environmentalists and government officials gathered yesterday at NEO and M College in Miami. That's the site of the 25th National Environmental Conference. It was chosen because of its proximity to the Tar Creek Superfund site. Officials were able to give updates on cleanup projects in the area, including Tar Creek and Pitcher, as well as how Miami is fighting flooding.
To highlight and explain and explore the environmental challenges that we face and the environmental justice challenges that we face in northeastern Oklahoma.
People who are currently taking part in the cleanup efforts and those that have retired were able to share personal stories about those efforts. Pittsburgh residents had a chance to meet the candidates running for the district's Board of Education. Root Coffee House hosted the event in partnership with the Pittsburgh Education Association. One resident we spoke to said keeping teachers around was a big priority for them.
I think the main thing is retaining our teachers, making sure our teachers are supported, they have the resources they need, that they're paid adequately, making sure our students have the resources that they need to be successful. There's no reason why we should have this amazing university here in town, and we have all these amazing kids graduating with education degrees, and yet all school systems aren't the first place they're applying. So making sure everyone's got the support they need, that's probably one of my biggest reasons.
Root Coffee House is hosting another public meeting between residents and candidates. That one will be on October 25th from 4 to 6 p.m. Students at Pitt State had a chance to conduct a crime scene investigation, at least a simulated one. A criminal forensics class instructor, Chris Blake, is collaborating with Pitt State Police and Public Safety to design and run the simulation. The simulation adds realistic components such as a crime scene perimeter. One priority is that students process the scene in the time they're given.
No, so now that evidence is what's going to help determine and give us a clearer picture as far as what happened, right? So that's going to be sent off to the lab, and then the lab is going to come back with our results and hopefully give the investigators a more conclusive idea as far as what happened.
The simulation happened on the north side of PSU's Russ Hall. The Joplin Humane Society is offering $25 adoption fees for Adopt a Dog Month through October 15th. This special is also a way to help lower the critically high number of animals. The Humane Society is encouraging anyone who can't take pets into their home to consider other ways to help.
They can definitely come out and help us socialize the animals here. We're always in need of supplies, so everything that you might use at home for your pets, we can use it here.
Supplies they regularly need are dry and wet pet food, bowls, collars, and leashes. You can visit the Joplin Humane Society Facebook page for updated information on their needs and how you can help. The Anderson Elementary School leveled up for lunchtime with the help of some video game characters. McDonald County Schools teamed up with OPAA Foods, the district's food service provider, as part of the nationwide celebration of National School Lunch Week. Mario, Luigi, and Princess Peach took on the role of lunch servers yesterday. The event is part of a week-long celebration of the vital role that school lunches play in nurturing the health and success of students.
They'll be excited. I think they'll be excited because number one, it's Chicken Patty Day. What kid doesn't like Chicken Patty Day? And number two, kids love video games, and they're going to love seeing us and our costumes.
The creative campaign theme is called Level Up with School Lunch. The Parsons Historical Museum will host its second annual Night at the Museum event this Saturday. When psychic medium Jelly Kellogg announced she's returning as the feature entertainment, tickets sold out fast. KOAM's Tanya Bach met up with Kellogg at the museum to see if anything caught her attention.
Are you noticing any spirits as we move through the museum?
Actually, I just heard when, I don't know if you noticed, I paused for a moment. When we were talking, I heard a lady say, "My baby's things are here."
Tanya continues her museum tour with psychic medium Julie Kellogg when the KOAM Morning News switches over to Fox 14. And that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, Israeli airstrikes demolishing entire neighborhoods in Gaza after a deadly weekend assault by Hamas militants. Plus, at least 2,200 are confirmed dead in Israel and Gaza as more airstrikes shook the region this morning. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch, Hurricane Lydia leaves behind damage in Mexico Wednesday. The storm hit as a Category 4 hurricane near the resort city of Puerto Vallarta, knocking over trees and blowing roofs off houses. Some streets were flooded and businesses were also damaged. Wind speeds reached a peak of 140 miles per hour before the storm moved inland. Mexican authorities say one person died after being hit by a fallen tree and 2 others were hurt. Tropical storm Sean formed far out in the Atlantic, but the Hurricane Center forecasts it is not likely to strengthen significantly. Israeli airstrikes demolishing entire neighborhoods in Gaza after a deadly weekend assault by Hamas militants. Take a look at the Gaza City skyline Wednesday. Several explosions going off following Israeli airstrikes and Hamas firing missiles towards Israel, following by thick black plumes of smoke rising and emergency vehicle sirens. Residents in Gaza are facing ever-growing uncertainty after the territory's only power plant ran out of fuel and shut down Wednesday. People in the sealed-off Gaza Strip are struggling to find safe areas during the war's bombardment. The war, which has claimed more than 2,000 lives on both sides, is expected to escalate as Israel readies for a possible land invasion. And at least 2,200 are confirmed dead in Israel and Gaza as more airstrikes shook the region this morning. That as the White House now says at least 22 Americans are among the dead, and officials warn that number could continue to climb. President Biden says that he spoke to Israel's prime minister again yesterday, with the nation's top diplomat also set to hold meetings there today. CBS News correspondent Chanel Call has the latest on the conflict from New York.
6 days since the surprise attack from Hamas militants, Israel continues striking Gaza. Around 300,000 Israeli troops are now positioned near the Gaza Strip, among them reservists mobilized from countries around the world, including the U.S.
We just want to go back, bring the peace as soon as possible.
Overnight, the Israeli national anthem was sung from balconies in Holon, while Gaza was thrown into darkness after the region's only power plant ran out of fuel. Hospitals there now relying on generators, with the humanitarian crisis growing. Yesterday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to wipe Hamas off the map. He and his top political rival have now formed an emergency wartime cabinet.
Silence is complicity.
At a White House roundtable with Jewish leaders, President Biden said he issued a warning to Iran, which has given money and weapons to Hamas for years.
Made it clear to the Iranians, be careful.
The president also said his administration is working to help get Americans out. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is now on the ground in Israel to discuss further military assistance and the hostage situation. The State Department issuing an advisory warning Americans not to travel to Israel. Chanel Call, CBS News.
This morning, former President Donald Trump is facing backlash from members of his own party after he criticized Israeli intelligence for failing to stop the Hamas attacks at a Florida campaign event yesterday. And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 546 on this Thursday morning. We have wind advisories, parts of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma through 7 this evening for wind gusts upwards of 40 to 45 miles an hour out there. The rest of us are still looking at pretty gusty winds, 30 to 35 miles an hour. So another neighbor's yard kind of day for your trash can. Do make sure it's secured. Then, here's the other thing. Take a look in southeast Kansas. We're going mostly cloudy out there. We're going to see increasing clouds, could even cross a bit into southwestern Missouri as well as we head into the afternoon, which that'll keep temperatures down a little bit, but then we'll start to clear out as we head into the evening. And it's so strange just simply because we're going to clear out ahead of incoming thunderstorms. You know, usually it's the other way. You get cloudy ahead of the storms, but not in this case. We head into the late night hours, so about midnight, we're going to start to see some scattered thunderstorms develop across the area. Here we are at 2. So we're not talking widespread thunderstorms, but we are still expecting some thunderstorms, and these will actually carry on into the mid-morning hours before they do eventually move on out of here as we head into the afternoon on Friday. And we're going to have early highs that are going to cool down pretty quickly after that. With the storms tonight, we do have that chance of a stray strong storm or two still out there, but the primary risk is for some small hail and perhaps some gusty winds out there. So, of course, we'll be tracking those for you and keep you updated on those storms as they move into the area. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line looking good. We've been watching this traffic pole. Every so often it starts bobbing around out there at those gusty winds this morning. KDOT camera 69 East 520th Avenue also looking good, and you'll see it shaking occasionally, as well as our camera at 7th and Range Line. Clear skies, 61 in Joplin, south-southeast breeze at 13, gusting up to 23, and of course it's breezy across the whole region this morning. We're a little cooler than yesterday, but not by much. 59, Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, 62, Parsons, Iola, 63s for Yates Center, Neodesha, Chanute, Chatopa, and Independence. 62 in Miami, 59 in Neosho, a little cooler in Monette, sitting at 55. So we get our morning started again, windy, mostly cloudy skies, at least for some of us out there. Temperatures upper 60s by late morning. And as we head into the afternoon, we turn around, start to clear out again, staying windy, highs well above average as well, going into the upper 70s, maybe some low 80s. And again, the evening is going to be clear, breezy, but clear and mild ahead of those thunderstorms overnight, going back into the upper 50s and lower 60s for our overnight lows. Now, tomorrow, once storms clear out, we hit an early high in the upper 60s, and temperatures thankfully will not plummet, but they will gradually fall throughout the day on Friday, back into the upper 50s overnight. Our eclipse day not looking as great as it was. We're starting to see the possibility of a few more clouds out there, so we'll keep an eye on that, but it may not be a great day to view it, unfortunately. Otherwise, pretty chilly too, 60. We hang out in the upper 50s through the weekend into Monday, low 60s, and the 50s return next week as well as our shower chances Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's a quick check of your forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Tennessee grandfather is making it his mission to raise money for his 8-year-old granddaughter battling leukemia. Mandy Harach shows us how he's using proceeds from a comic book store to raise money for her treatment and for other kids with cancer.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the amazing Mr. Robert here at the Daycare Kids Comic Toys and Antiquities, and we're being accompanied by Fox News 13. And I'm the amazing Mr. Robert here with my sidekick,
Squirt.
And we're here to show you our wonderful world.
Whether you're into comic books, superheroes, or monsters.
This is our fabulous Monster Island. From all your kaijus from Japan, Bandai, Power Rangers, you name it.
There's something for everyone at the Daycare Kids Comics, Toys, and Antiques shop in West Memphis.
This store is our time machine. My wife wanted something when you came from the outside world with all the misery today. You could come in here and forget it for one moment and remember being a kid.
The owner, known by many as the amazing Mr. Robert, started collecting more than 4 decades ago and opened his shop 7 years ago. His wife helped him find unique, one-of-a-kind pieces until she lost her battle to cancer in 2020. 7 days later, his granddaughter Hannah was diagnosed with leukemia.
So they took me to Le Bonheur, and then they put this needle through my hand, and then they took me to St. Jude. It was not very fun.
And with us just battling for a year and a half with my wife passed away from stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And after watching her go through it, you know, you have to do it again.
That's when Robert decided every future penny made at the comic book store would go towards Hannah's treatment and other patients at St. Jude.
I'm retired. All I'm going to do is spend it on them. So we give a lot of proceeds to St. Jude's, who helps her every year at the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention.
After a long journey of chemo treatments and taking medication, Hannah is on the mend.
We've got about 6.5, 7 months to go, and then we'll be done with treatment, and she'll be on remission.
That's where she sleeps, on her giant Chewbacca.
But I'm pretty big for it.
And Robert's collection continues to grow in memory of his wife and in honor of kids like Hannah.
We do this because, hey, this is what you should do. And places like this don't exist anymore.
What a fun way to support St. Jude. We'll be right back. Cool fall weather is the perfect time to enjoy a hearty, warming bowl of gumbo, especially on National Gumbo Day, Thursday, October 12th. The strongly flavored dish originated in southern Louisiana in the 18th century and is the official cuisine for the state. Cajun chefs say it must feature the holy trinity of seasoned celery, bell peppers, and onions stewed with meat or shellfish. You can celebrate the day going out to eat for this gumbo or by making your own at home. Post photos of your meal with the social media hashtag National Gumbo Day. If you can't get enough, visit the World Championship Gumbo Cook-Off held this weekend in New Iberia, Louisiana. And if you have food on your table, thank a farmer, because today is also National Farmers Day. It's the end of harvest season, and farmers are working hard each day to feed their families and ours. But before seeds even find their way into the ground, farmers and their families supply a stream of jobs from manufacturing, marketing, and tourism. Farmers keep small and large communities going strong. National Farmers Day used to be known as Old Farmers Day, going back to the 1800s. You can mark the day by buying fruits and vegetables from a farmer's market or investing in cooperative farming. Another way to support local farmers is by visiting a small town fall festival.
We've got ourselves a breezy and warm day once again. Some of us are going mostly cloudy as we head through the morning hours, upper 60s by late morning, winds gusting 30 to 35, but parts of Kansas and Oklahoma wind advisories today for gusts 40 to 45 miles an hour. Skies will begin to clear as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. Again, above average, upper 70s and low 80s out there. Clear skies, still breezy, mild through the evening, and then thunderstorm chances increase after midnight. Lows in the upper 50s, low 60s, hitting an early high in the upper 60s for us on Friday. Temperatures gradually falling through the day. Not looking like a great day for the eclipse on Saturday. Mostly cloudy skies and cool, low 60s, upper 50s heading into the weekend with more showers by next week. We've got more right after this.
Right now it's 6, with the imminent closure of the Tyson plant just days away. One worker expresses her hopes and anxiety for the future.
And we've got another warm and breezy day out there. Ahead of thunderstorm chances that'll be increasing. We got to look at that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, a Baxter Springs man is voicing his frustrations, saying he has to pay to repair his water meter after it's allegedly damaged by a tree service.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. The time now is 6 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. So, we got a lot to talk about in the forecast here in a couple of minutes, but there's something special that you did. Unfortunately,
yes, Chris.
I was supposed to go with you, I got ill. Won't go into the details, but I was unable to attend this. But It was really neat from what I hear.
Yeah,
I
it was a
haven't
great
seen
time.
this yet, so you and I together, we're seeing it for the first time.
Right.
She's seen it already. She
I know.
participated.
It was a great time.
It
'cause
was, yes.
we wanted to look at the top Halloween costumes this year. So what we did is we headed on down to Eagle Sales in Commerce to get a first-hand look. Well, I got a feeling that we aren't in Kansas anymore. As a matter of fact, we're in Commerce, Oklahoma, where as you can see around me, we're getting the Halloween spirit here at Eagle Sales. They've got everything you need for spooky season this year.
So here at our store, I think some of our most popular costumes in the kids area is going to be some of our superheroes, our video game costumes, the Minecraft and things like that. We have Wednesday Addams, which everyone that's a Netflix guru loves Wednesday Addams. So we do have some really good popular ones for the adults. We have mixtures of, we got scary, we got sexy, we got funny, we got inflatables, we got some really good masks. Be sure to check out our masks. We have ones with movable mouths. You do not see that very often. They're very high quality.
I think just dressing up is just fun. It's just something, you know, that you just, I don't know, it's even for adults, we're like children when it comes to Halloween, especially when it comes to dressing up. Like, you want to be this, you want to be that, you just, you know, it's just fun.
What's really unique about our store here in Commerce, Oklahoma is not only do we offer pumpkins and animatronics, we also have our little pumpkin patch outside, which we've been doing since 2018. That's actually what we grew this a part of. When we started this in 2018, we've always had the vision that we wanted to eventually turn this in to a store, and we're actually wanting to eventually have a fall festival down here. We'll have a little taste of it this year. Friday the 13th, we are going to have a little festival thing going on. We're going to have stuff for the kids to do, a little paint booth, get your face painted. We'll have our animatronic room going, pumpkins. We'll probably have pumpkin painting. So be sure to come out Friday the 13th. We'll try to have a food truck here and have some things going on. It should be a fun time.
I feel the need for speed, and I recommend that you speed on down here and get all of your Halloween necessities at Eagle Sales, happening all this month long. Well, Eagle Sales will be hosting their Halloween party on Friday the 13th from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 303 South Mickey Mantle Boulevard in Commerce, Oklahoma.
I am really sad now that I missed that.
Oh, yeah, we had a blast, Chris.
I'm not sure if the viewers are sad that they missed me changing into various costumes. they might have been slightly bothered by some of that, but still, it looks like it was a great time. It looks like a great place to go check out if you're looking for some costume ideas, because, you know, kids especially, this is my favorite, they change their mind every other day of the week.
Oh, so do adults. And adults have more parties to attend, too. You can never repeat.
That's true.
They have a great selection. Anything you could possibly want for the whole family right there at Eagle Sales.
Well, and for our Friday, the 13th, which of course is tomorrow, it's going to be a bit on the cool side. We'll talk about that in a few moments. But first, let's talk about the wind, the warm weather, and the rain. All right, MoDOT camera, 30-second and range line in Joplin. Every so often, if you look close enough, you'll see this traffic light moving around because it's still breezy out there. Got clear skies, Joplin and Pittsburgh, 60 and 59, so just a little bit cooler than where we were this time yesterday, but not significantly. Kids getting on that school bus this morning, a little bit on the cool side, but again, not bad. We're going to go into the upper 50s, wind gusts to 30. Winds picking up, gusting to 35, partly cloudy this afternoon, low to mid 70s across the area. As we get our morning started, the winds continue. Some of us, especially in southeast Kansas, is going to go mostly cloudy. We'll go upper 60s by late morning. And I do want to talk about this real quick. Wind advisories for parts of southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma. These run until 7 this evening. And out in those areas, you could see wind gusts as high as 40 to 45 miles an hour. So again, another trash can in the neighbor's yard kind of day if it's not secured. Make sure you get that trash can secured. And as mentioned, we have thunderstorm chances increasing this evening. We'll have another look at your full forecast here in a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. A Knoll, Missouri man is sentenced after pleading guilty to child sex crimes. Authorities say in July of last year, 60-year-old Gregory Elmore was caught trying to rape a child he was related to by the child's father. Tuesday, Elmore pleaded guilty to attempted statutory rape of a child under 14 years old. He is sentenced to 15 years in prison. And the Tyson plant in Knoll, Missouri will close on Friday, leaving about 1,500 people unemployed. The company is offering $1,000 for those who work until the very last day, according to employees, not taking into consideration for how long these people worked at the company. The employees who chose to stay until the last day to receive the compensation are now dealing with the uncertainty about their future. Yaneth Gonzalez, who is originally from El Salvador, says that the situation has been especially stressful for immigrants who don't speak English and those who, unlike her, don't have their papers. Our reporter, Fernanda Silva, provided the translation.
They don't have anywhere to work because they left their lives there, bought their houses, have their cars, and many dreams they had. And now with this that is happening to them, it's been difficult for me to see them cry.
As companies hiring usually offer a night shift, making it harder for women with kids. We also reached out to Tyson, who emailed us answers to our questions. Tyson says they are offering a $5,000 transfer bonus and up to $5,000 assistance for moving expenses for team members who physically move to another Tyson Foods facility. Tyson spokesperson says 16% of the workforce plan to remain employed by the company. Also, according to Tyson, they have coordinated with outside employers and the Missouri Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development, who share employment opportunities, unemployment assistance, and other support for employees. Tonight at 6, we will hear more from Yaneth Gonzalez and her concerns. A Baxter Springs man is stuck with a bill for damage he says he did not cause. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
After receiving a water bill higher than usual from the city, William Mortel was notified that his water meter was damaged. Then he started connecting the dots.
My neighbor and I were recollecting of when the tree service was back here, and they had to get in through the alley to get to where they were because they came in to the yard up to this tree. Like, there's literally no way you could avoid that meter.
Mortel was billed $200 to repair the meter, but he thought Right Tree Service would take accountability since the meter was working before they worked on the property. Mortel says the company was contracted by Liberty to cut branches around the power lines.
I came home from work one day and I saw the tree service was back here examining it. So I came back here to talk to them, and they're like, yeah, that's not from our trucks. If we ran that over, we would have crushed it. I'm like, well, it's crushed. So
you're already dealing with increased rates, and now you have a $200 bill for something you didn't do. It's frustrating, to say the least.
Pretty much just passed me off and say, that's not our responsibility, it's the tree people. I called the tree people. They said, that's not our responsibility, we didn't do it. So, like, I'm just stuck with the invoice, and that's not fair. Like, if I ran over their meter, I would be expected to pay for it.
Mortel says he's understanding, but believes someone else's mistake shouldn't be on his dime. Reporting in Baxter Springs, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
We reached out to Liberty Utilities and Right Tree Service for a statement, but we have not received a response. Pittsburgh's mayor yesterday delivered the 2023 State of the City address. The free event brought out the community for a morning of networking, breakfast, and short program. The mayor shared Pittsburgh's accomplishments in 2023 as well as a look ahead. He says the event served as a way to connect with the community.
Everybody should interact with their community in some form or other. Don't ask me why I'm doing this at my age and after 2 careers. It's because I want to do something. I've got it. I love people. I love to be around people. I like to solve problems.
The address took place at the Memorial Auditorium. And Fuzzy's Taco Shop in Joplin has closed up, seemingly permanently. Customers went to the shop yesterday expecting it to be open like normal, but they were met with a sign on the door that reads in part, Fuzzy's Taco Shop Joplin is closed. We apologize for the inconvenience. Google lists the business as permanently closed, and numerous people were seen removing items from the building and loading them into SUVs and U-Haul trailers. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in the first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. It's unclear when the House of Representatives will have a speaker again. We'll have the latest. Plus, a community in Hollywood Hills is doing its part to help save endangered monarch butterflies. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Thursday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning, another interest rate hike is likely this year, and that's according to newly released minutes from the Federal Reserve's September meeting. Most Fed officials said that they believe another increase would be appropriate. They noted it depends on how inflation responds to the 11 hikes that have been seen since last March. A minority of those in the meeting said that they didn't think more increases would be necessary. For now, financial markets are counting on the Fed leaving interest rates alone in its November meeting with the possibility of an increase in December. The Fed kept its key lending rate, which stands at a 22-year high, steady in September. Former NFL player Sergio Brown has been taken into custody in connection with his mother's death. Brown's mother was found dead near a creek behind her Chicago area home on September 16th. According to a law enforcement source, after Brown fled through Mexico, he was deported back to the U.S. on Tuesday and was taken into custody near San Diego, California. The source also says that police are working to transfer Brown to the Chicago area. Mexican authorities have reportedly known his whereabouts since at least September 19th, but were waiting for an arrest warrant before they deported him. The medical examiner's office says she died from injuries related to an assault, and the manner of death was ruled a homicide. Microsoft plans to contest an Internal Revenue Service request for nearly $29 billion in back taxes. The demand is the result of a year-long audit by the IRS into Microsoft's past accounting. In a securities filing Wednesday, Microsoft said the IRS is asking for an additional $28.9 billion in tax from 2004 to 2013, plus penalties and interest. The company says that the IRS determination is not final. It does not include up to $10 billion in taxes Microsoft paid under the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that would reduce its final bill. Microsoft plans to appeal the IRS request, a process that will likely take several years. It's unclear when the House of Representatives will have a speaker again. The Republican nominee is struggling to get enough support to win a floor vote. That could be bad news for the U.S. economy. Congress needs to pass a spending plan to avoid a government shutdown next month, but it's largely paralyzed, as Amy Kiley reports.
I want to thank my House Republican colleagues for just designating me as the Speaker.
Representative Steve Scalise is the GOP nominee for Speaker of the House. His former opponent is endorsing him.
We need a Speaker, and Steve is the guy for that.
But that's not the end of the story.
It is unlikely that we will seat a Speaker today or this week for that matter.
Scalise needs 217 votes to become Speaker, and some Republicans say they won't support him. Representative Thomas Massey says he knows at least 20 such people. For now, the House is effectively paralyzed with a key ally at war.
We need to support Israel right away.
Domestic matters need attention too. A new report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics looks at wholesale prices and shows they've been on the rise for 3 months in a row. That leaves businesses grappling with rising costs. Congress can't magically stop inflation, but it can stop a government shutdown from making things worse. That requires passing a funding plan. But without a House Speaker,
we cannot provide a dollar. We can't take care of Americans. We cannot take care of Ukraine, and we surely can't take care of Israelis.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
That's a look at some of today's top national stories. Now here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've actually got another warm and breezy day out there. In fact, we've got wind advisories in parts of southeastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma until 7. Those areas could see wind gusts 40 to 45 miles an hour, while the rest of us are still looking at gusts 30 to 35 miles an hour. So today, another trash can in the neighbor's yard kind of day, so make sure it's still secured out there. We have another round of wind ahead of us. We've also got shower and thunderstorm chances coming in overnight. We'll have another full look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes.
In California, a community in the Hollywood Hills is doing its part to help save endangered monarch butterflies. The species were near the brink of extinction in 2020, but their numbers are improving. Joy Benedict has more on what's being done to make sure that they continue to take flight.
There's something in the air in the Hollywood Hills, as the blooming is a beacon for the butterfly.
1, 2, 3. Something should be coming out of her. You saw the egg?
Oh my God, yeah. The monarch butterflies are laying eggs and flying high, but it's not by accident or even by nature. It's a plan by this community as the monarch is on the endangered species list.
We have one little guy left.
Stephen Pine is raising his monarchs inside.
They're beautiful insects, and we care about beautiful little insects. We don't want them to go extinct.
He says when the Hollywood Knolls Garden Club started telling everyone about the need for milkweed to keep the butterflies alive, he got 2 small plants and ended up with 24 caterpillars.
It looked like an alien takeover. at one point when you had all of them just going to town on our plants. They literally chewed them to the nubs of the stalks.
With the temperatures rising, he brought his tiny plants and tiny caterpillars inside.
We had so many caterpillars, I had to go around the neighborhood and find, random milkweed plants and steal leaves to keep our caterpillars fed.
They can smell milkweed for up to 2 miles away.
Charles Malky is the co-chair of the Garden Club and owns a plant product company. He handed out milkweed to his neighbors as it's the only plant the monarch caterpillars can eat.
It's shocking that they've hit the endangered species list last year. We all need to take that additional step to support their populations by dedicating some of our real estate to them.
Especially since this was once their habitat.
Our homes have taken away from their real estate.
But scientists say it's not construction killing this winged tiger. It's the herbicide that kills the milkweed and the pesticide that stops the flight.
How bad of shape are they in?
It's been really bad. We probably have only about 1% of the monarchs that we would have seen 40 years ago.
Dr. Jeff Holmquist is an ecologist at UCLA. He says we also can't rule out the effect of climate change.
As the climate changes, we may start to have more of these mismatches between plants and the insects that depend on them.
Butterflies migrate based on the temperature, but the warmth can be deceiving, allowing them to fly to their next location too soon.
So they've left their coastal overwintering habitat, gone inland to find milkweed, and oops, little or no milkweed there. So that's a problem.
Which gives this community just one more reason to plant it.
This here is a seed pod, and you can see the beautiful seeds.
And its beautiful friend, the orange and black banded fluttering staple of fall, which this community hopes will soar for generations to come.
According to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, most breeding adult butterflies live approximately 2 to 5 weeks, but overwintering adults that enter into reproductive diapause can live 6 to 9 months. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got ourselves another warm and windy day across the area. We will talk about that and some wind advisories and our overnight storm chances when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 6:25 now on this Thursday morning. We have wind advisories for parts of southeast Kansas and northeastern Oklahoma until 7 this evening. Those locations, winds could gust from 40 to 45 miles an hour. The rest of us still looking at strong wind gusts of 30 to 35. So another neighbor's yard kind of day for your trash can. So make sure it's secure out there. Again, unless you just really enjoy picking up trash from your own trash can across the neighbor's yard. All right, clouds are actually going to increase through the morning and into the early afternoon, primarily across southeast Kansas, but could see some of that cloud cover spread as far east as the I-49 corridor into southwest Missouri. So initially, that'll keep temperatures a little cooler out there, but clouds will start to clear by late afternoon into the evening hours, and that will allow southeast Kansas to warm up with the rest of us as we stay unseasonably warm in the upper 70s, even some low 80s. By midnight tonight, scattered thunderstorms begin to develop across the area, and we will continue to see these. As you see, they're looking to be fairly scattered at this point, but nonetheless, a few showers, a few thunderstorms out there from midnight through about 8, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, and they'll eventually clear on out of here, and then our temperatures will begin to fall back behind all of that. And with our storms overnight, there is that possibility of a strong storm or two, so we've got a low risk for hail and wind, so some small hail, gusty winds possible with some of these storms at this point, primarily in southeastern Kansas. Live look, MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. If you look close enough, you can see this traffic light blowing around out there. We've got those gusty winds. KDOT camera 69 East 520th Avenue also showing us what is a pretty decent start to our day, but again, it is a bit breezy. Our camera at 7th and range line also looking pretty good this morning. We are sitting at 60 in Joplin, so a little cooler than where we were. South breeze at 14, but we've seen gusts up to about 25 miles an hour out there. Again, a little cooler this morning, but still not bad. 59 in Lamar, Nevada, and Pittsburgh. 58 Fort Scott, 63 Chanute, Yates Center, Neodesha, 61 Chatopa, 60 in Miami, and 58 down in Neosho. So again, winds out there increasing once again. Cloud cover at least increasing for some of us, and we'll go back into the upper 60s by late morning. Highs above average, upper 70s, low 80s across the area. And again, through the evening ahead of our storms initially, we're going to start to clear out. Still breezy, still mild. Overnight lows tonight Upper 50s, low 60s with those thunderstorm chances after midnight. And as we look ahead, so again, an early high in the upper 60s on Friday, and then we'll see temperatures thankfully not plummet through the day, but they'll gradually fall back. And by the weekend, our solar eclipse viewing not looking so great. We could see some clouds out there, but we'll keep an eye on that. Maybe we won't get as many clouds and we'll still be able to get a good view. Otherwise, cool for sure, 60, upper 50s as we go into Sunday and Monday. And then we head into next week. We do start to warm up a bit back into the upper 60s, and we'll see additional shower chances by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's a quick check of your forecast. Now, here's Caitlin with Health Watch.
Thanks, Chris. Well, a new study in the British Medical Journal indicates saline injections to treat calcium buildup in the shoulder are not effective. Saline is often used before a steroid injection, but researchers found that saline does not give any meaningful benefits. They say current shoulder treatments need to be reevaluated. And researchers in Germany are reporting that artificial intelligence, or AI, is rapidly improving skin cancer detection. Data shows new software can correctly identify 99.5% of all skin cancers, including 100% of melanoma cases, but health experts say that patients need to also consult a dermatologist and not rely solely on AI. And new research gives the hypertension drug amlodipine a clean bill of health. Recent studies have linked the medication to cardiac issues, but the National Institutes of Health and Glasgow University say that the drug is unlikely to increase heart failure in patients. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, Pittsburgh residents had a chance to meet the candidates running for the district's Board of Education.
We've got a clear but breezy start across the area this morning. Another warm day out there ahead of rain chances and much cooler temperatures. Take a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, one area animal shelter hits critical capacity. Hear how it's trying to deal with the problem.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. The time now is 6:32 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. For a moment, I thought it was 5:30. And I'm quite happy that it is not 5:30. Yeah, people in the back, 10 back there agreeing with me right now that very thankful that it is not 5:30. And I'm sure some of you at home, if you're getting ready for work or for school, you're probably thinking, no, I want it to be 5:30. I'm not ready for this yet. But that's all right. We're advancing through the day, and it's another warm and windy one across the area. Live look at the MoDOT camera, 32nd and range line in Joplin. Every so often when the wind really starts to gust, we can see this traffic pole moving back and forth out there. Right now looking pretty steady, but we are still getting those gusty winds. Quick look outside. Joplin, clear skies, 60, and here comes Pittsburgh, 59, clear skies out there. So we're a little bit cooler than where we were yesterday morning, but it's only by about 3-4 degrees out there. Kids getting on the big yellow bus today. Partly cloudy skies, breezy this morning. Upper 50s, winds gusting out of the south to 30. And when that bus brings them home, the winds pick up a bit, gusting out of the south at 35, low to mid 70s with partly cloudy skies as well. We get our morning started windy, clouds increasing, at least along into the west of the I-49 corridor out there. So that'll keep southeast Kansas a little cooler initially, but those clouds will clear later today, upper 60s by late morning. We also have wind advisories for parts of southeast Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma. These run through 7, and it's for wind gusts of 40 to 45 miles an hour out there. So again, another trash can in the neighbor's yard kind of day. So make sure it's secured and fastened or put somewhere safe so that it doesn't fly away on you. Here's a look at those clouds. We head through the morning and into the early afternoon. We have them. Then they start to clear out, and that allows southeast Kansas to warm up with the rest of us as we're, again, unseasonably warm into the upper 70s. Then by midnight, here comes our scattered thunderstorm chances across the area, and these will stick with us through the overnight hours into the early morning hours, even into the mid-morning hours, so say about 9, 10 o'clock, and they will eventually clear out and leave behind falling temperatures. And want to remind you of this real quick. With the storms overnight, there's that possibility of a strong storm or two with this activity. If we see any, we're talking maybe some small hail and some gusty winds out there. So, of course, we'll keep an eye on those for you. We have a pretty significant cool down following this cold front. We'll talk about that in your full forecast here in a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Environmentalists and government officials gathered yesterday at NEO A&M College in Miami. That's the site of the 25th National Environmental Conference. It was chosen because of its proximity to the Tar Creek Superfund site. Officials were able to give updates on cleanup projects in the area, including Tar Creek and Pitcher, as well as how Miami is fighting flooding.
To highlight and explain and explore the environmental challenges that we face and the environmental justice challenges that we face in northeastern Oklahoma.
People who are currently taking part in the cleanup efforts and those that have retired were able to share personal stories about those efforts. Pittsburgh residents had a chance to meet the candidates running for the district's Board of Education. Root Coffee House hosted the event in partnership with the Pittsburgh Education Association. One resident we spoke to said keeping teachers around was a big priority for him.
I think the main thing is retaining our teachers, making sure our teachers are supported, they have the resources they need, that they're paid adequately, making sure our students have the resources that they need to be successful. There's no reason why we should have this amazing university here in town, and we have all these amazing kids graduating with education degrees, and yet all school systems aren't the first place they're applying. So making sure everyone's got the support they need, that's probably one of my biggest reasons.
Root Coffee House is hosting another public meeting between residents and candidates on October 25th from 4 to 6 p.m. Students at Pitt State had a chance to conduct a crime scene investigation, at least a simulated one. A criminal forensics class instructor, Chris Black, is collaborating with Pitt State Police and Public Safety to design and run the simulation. The simulation adds realistic components such as a crime scene perimeter. One priority is that students process the scene in the time they're given.
No, so now that evidence is what's going to help determine and give us a clearer picture as far as what happened, right? So that's going to be sent off to the lab, and then the lab is going to come back with our results and hopefully give the investigators a more conclusive idea as far as what happened.
The simulation happened on the north side of PSU's Russ Hall. And it's Adopt a Dog Month at the Joplin Humane Society, so they're offering lowered adoption fees. This comes as the shelter hits critical capacity. KOAM's Miranda Burton has more.
Through October 15th, approved pet lovers can adopt for just $25. Not only is this special timely for Adopt a Dog Month, it's also a necessary measure as their numbers have increased.
We have been full as long as I can remember this year. There's been times in the past where it's like, oh, we're doing good, making some progress, and then next thing you know, it's packed, but we haven't seemed to have had any sort of break yet this year.
While it is often a struggle to get animals adopted, some people adopt and keep coming back for more. Volunteer Savannah Fisher has adopted a cat, Bentley, and 2 dogs, Spunker Baby and Monkey.
Was a foster fail, and now he lives with us, and he goes hiking and camping, and a big adventure pup. And then we also have Monkey, and he does the same thing.
Other volunteers told a similar story to Fisher's, but they are still encouraging others to foster or adopt, and not just dogs.
It's just a rewarding experience for people to foster. I know a lot of foster fails, a lot of people do little kittens and they wind up adopting them, and that's great. And it frees up space here at the shelter for another cat to take that spot.
The Humane Society asks community members to consider ways they can help without having to take pets home.
They can definitely come out and help us socialize the animals here. We're always in need of supplies, so everything that you might use at home for your pets, we can use it here.
Supplies they regularly need are dry and wet food, bowls, collars, and leashes. Reporting from Joplin, Missouri, this is Miranda Burton with KOAM News.
Many animals that end up at the Humane Society are lost but loved pets. The Humane Society reminds owners to microchip their pets and make sure that the information is current. Students at an elementary school in McDonald County had a special treat in the lunch line. Mario, Luigi, and Princess Peach served up yesterday's meal at Anderson Elementary. It's part of Level Up with School Lunch, a week-long celebration of the importance of school lunches in providing kids with nutritious food.
We are food service in a school, and so it's very important that we teach children good nutrition. The best way to teach children is through interacting and through bright, colorful, make it fun. And so That's our end goal, is to get kids to eat good, nutritious meals.
The program also aligns with National School Lunch Week. The Parsons Historical Museum will host its second annual Night at the Museum event this Saturday, when psychic medium Julie Kellogg announced that she's returning as the featured entertainment. Tickets sold out fast. KOAM's Tanya Bach met up with Kellogg at the museum to see if anything caught her attention.
Are you noticing any spirits as we move through the museum?
Actually, I just heard I don't know if you noticed, I paused for a moment. When we were talking, I heard a lady say, "My baby's things are here."
Tanya continues her museum tour with psychic medium Julie Kellogg when the KOAM Morning News switches over to Fox 14. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The United Auto Workers strike against the big three U.S. car makers expanded again yesterday.
And we've got another warm and breezy day across the area ahead of thunderstorm chances. We'll have another look at that forecast when we come back.
This morning, President Biden is hoping to put an end to hidden fees. Yesterday, he announced a new proposed rule from the Federal Trade Commission that would ban companies from charging so-called junk fees and require them to disclose all pricing up front. Businesses could face a $50,000 fine per violation if the rule is finalized as is in the coming months. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has also issued a new policy aimed at stopping banks from charging fees when customers request basic information about their accounts. The United Auto Workers strike against the big three U.S. car makers expanded again yesterday. Around 9,000 workers at a Kentucky Ford truck plant walked out as bargaining talks between the two sides continued to stall. In a statement, Ford called the move, quote, grossly irresponsible but unsurprising. Nearly 5,000 workers have been laid off since the UAW strike began roughly 4 weeks ago. And Coffee Mate is hoping to make fetch happen with its new pink frosting flavored creamer. This is inspired by the movie Mean Girls. The company's first ever pink creamer will be available in stores nationwide as of January 2024, marking the film's 20th anniversary. Mean Girls is a production of CBS parent company Paramount Global. And that's it for Consumer Watch. Now here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, quick look outside. Our camera at 7th and Range Line. We are looking good. Clear skies out there. Same from the MoDOT camera at 32nd and Range Line. We still have some gusty winds, though, to tend with. We are sitting at 60 in Joplin, 58 in Pittsburgh. Both, again, clear skies and breezy. Kids getting on that bus this morning. Upper 50s, partly cloudy. Winds gusting upwards of 30 miles an hour out of the south. By the time the bus brings them home, partly cloudy, still windy. Winds gusting 35 miles an hour, and we're in the low to mid 70s out there. Through the morning, clouds will increase, especially along into the west of the I-49 corridor. Temperatures climbing into the upper 60s by late morning. We have wind advisories for southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, at least parts of them, through 7 this evening for wind gusts out there that could push 40 to 45 miles an hour. We'll have another full look at your forecast in just a moment. We're also just about ready to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. Those are coming up after the break. But first, these fine folks in New York City, we love them so much. They're getting ready for CBS Mornings, so let's see what they've got coming up on CBS Mornings.
I'm Nate Burleson. Coming up on CBS Mornings, see how the Las Vegas Sphere and an Oscar-nominated director are taking us into the future by looking at the history of our planet. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
Time for some Thursday birthdays in the 4 states, and we are starting up in Carthage with Jaden Fix celebrating number 11. Happy birthday, love, coming from Mom, Addison, Stephen, and the family.
And happy 12th birthday to Gabriella McGuire over in Oswego, Kansas. Her birthday was last Wednesday.
And Emery Mars celebrating a birthday this past Tuesday, the big number 13. Happy birthday, Emery.
And of course we have over in Pittsburgh, Kansas, Blake Loftmiller, who is 16 on Wednesday. Happy sweet 16, Blake.
And we've got Josh Harrison in Pittsburgh celebrating number 35. Says, we want you to know that we love you and we are very proud of you. Happy birthday, son. Love, Mom and Dad.
Very sweet. And Gunnar Wixon turns 46 over in Baxter Springs. Please help us wish him a very happy birthday.
And retired Chief Petty Officer from the U.S. Navy, John Heiser, in Pittsburgh, celebrating birthday number 75 with love coming from your wife Dorothy and daughter Trinity.
And over in Pittsburgh, we have an 82nd birthday of Elaine Huntsinger. Happy birthday, Elaine.
And Jim and Judy Evans in Columbus celebrating their 66th anniversary. A very happy anniversary to the Evans family.
And it's not over yet. Nicole Berger turns 56. Happy birthday, Nicole.
And Emma Lynn celebrating another year wiser with a birthday today in Columbus. So very happy birthday and anniversary to all of you. Another fantastic list. Caitlin, how can they help us keep it fantastic?
All you have to do is send in birthdays, pictures, and any notes that you want us to read aloud to birthdays@KOAMnewsnow.com.
And of course, we love celebrating those birthdays with you, and we have got ourselves another warm and windy day. We also have increasing thunderstorm chances. As we go through today, believe it or not, heading into the morning and early afternoon, clouds will increase, especially long into the west of the I-49 corridor. Then they'll clear out later this evening ahead of our thunderstorm chances that increase around midnight. These will be scattered thunderstorms across the area, so not rain everywhere all at once, but we'll see them persist with us, even some redevelopment possible through the morning hours on Friday before they finally kick out of here after about, say, 10, 11 o'clock Friday morning. Now, with the overnight storms, a couple of those could be on the strong side, especially in southeast Kansas with some small hail and perhaps some gusty winds out there, so something that we will keep an eye on for you. MoDOT camera 32nd and range line looking pretty good this morning. Same from Pittsburgh at the KDOT camera from US 69 East 520th, just south of town. Our camera 7th and range line showing those clear skies. 60 in Joplin, south breeze at 14 miles an hour. We've seen gusts already this morning, upwards of 25. And for parts of southeast Kansas and into northeast Oklahoma, wind advisories for gusts possible up to 40 to 45 miles an hour out there. The rest of us, winds picking up, gusting around 35 miles an hour. 59 in Pittsburgh, Lamar, Fort Scott, Nevada. 60 in Carthage, 62 in Parsons, 63 Chanute, Neodesha, Yates Center, and 60 in Miami. So again, winds, clouds increasing through the morning, at least the clouds increasing for some of us out there, and we'll go into the low 60s by late morning. We're having another look at your forecast, how the weekend is shaping up, and the big cool down that's on the way here in just a moment, as well as the news you need to know. And when the KOAM morning news makes a switch over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., Halloween! It's around the corner, and one young man in Detroit with a medical condition has been saving his money and getting ready since the summer.
Top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A Knoll, Missouri man is sentenced after pleading guilty to child sex crimes. Authorities say in July of last year, 60-year-old Gregory Elmore was caught trying to rape a child he was related to by the child's father. Tuesday, Elmore pleaded guilty to attempted statutory rape of a child under 14 years old. He is sentenced to 15 years in prison. The Tyson plant in Knoll, Missouri will close on Friday, leaving about 1,500 people unemployed. The company is offering $1,000 for those who work until the very last day, according to employees, not taking in consideration for how long these people worked for the company. The employees who chose to stay until the last day to receive the compensation are now dealing with the uncertainty about their future. Yaneth Gonzalez, who is originally from El Salvador, says the situation has been especially stressful for immigrants who don't speak English and those who, unlike her, don't have their papers. A Baxter Springs man is looking for answers about who's on the hook for his damaged water meter. After receiving a higher than usual water bill from the city, William Mortal was notified his water meter was damaged. Mortal was billed $200 to repair the meter, but he thought Right Tree Service would take accountability since the meter was working before they worked on the property. He says that the company was contracted by Liberty to cut branches. Mortal says he's understanding but believes someone else's mistake shouldn't be on his dime. And that's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
All right, quick reminder, wind advisories, parts of southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma. Winds out there gusting 40 to 45, 30 to 35 for the rest of us. Increasing clouds through the morning and into the early afternoon, then decreasing by late afternoon into the evening. Above average highs, upper 70s, even some low 80s possible. We will be clear and mild and breezy through the evening hours, and then clouds will pick back up, and we'll start to see thunderstorm chances building in around midnight tonight, and those will last through mid-morning tomorrow. Lows in the upper 50s and low 60s. We will start the day Friday in the upper 60s. Temperatures falling gradually through the day. We're starting to look at a mostly cloudy day for eclipse day, so hopefully that changes, but just a heads up out there if you were wanting to catch it. We're going to be chilly as well. 60 Saturday, upper 50s Sunday and Monday, and back into the 60s next week with some rain chances on Wednesday.
All right, well, coming up today at noon, we're making mustaccioli and sausage toss in the Mr. Food Test kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Taylor Swift is bringing her Eras Tour to the big screen. Coming up on CBS Mornings, Jolene Kent sat 2 rows behind Swift at the world premiere and has the inside scoop.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, an iconic vehicle from the 1980s has been discovered in good condition in Illinois, a 1981 DeLorean.
Plus, Dustin Luno from the Joplin Fire Department joining us in the studio to talk about Fire Safety Month, a very important topic indeed. We're not going to miss it. We're here. You don't want to miss that or any of that. And that's going to wrap it up for us for now. I am about checked out mentally. We will see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.